Welcome to the Cultivation Podcast. I am your host, Tom Hamill, and I'm so glad that you have joined us for this episode. This season, we are talking about excerpts and bonus material from my upcoming book, The Life You're Meant to Lead. And this week, we are talking specifically about how your purpose, my purpose, is contagious. So let's get into it. Have you ever been around those people who know exactly why they were put on earth? They're kind of annoying, aren't they? Not really. We're all a little envious of them going, man, what's the deal? What's the secret sauce? What's so special about that person that they know with such clarity, such certainty, exactly what they're meant to do, supposed to do with their life? I actually happen to believe that our purpose is progressive, that I'm destined to do something different today than I was supposed to be doing 10 years ago, and that our purpose grows with us as we develop as a human being. But the journey of unlocking and discovering that purpose never goes away. It never stops. It continues to evolve. I talk a lot about this in the book, but there's a few things I wasn't able to talk about as I wasn't able to get all this content in there, but you're getting an exclusive behind the scenes or behind the audio, if you will, version of what I couldn't get in the book through talking about how our purpose is so contagious. I love to be around people who know exactly why they were put on earth, and I try to find and ask as many questions as possible because I want to know, and I want to be so committed to becoming the person that I'm destined to be, meant to be, purposed to be, and I do that by hanging around people. So a couple of keys to how our purpose is contagious. I've got some notes on the backboard right there, so if you see me checking them out, it's just to keep me on task while you join me, and that's only for those that are watching on YouTube, which, by the way, you can follow us at Tom Hamill on YouTube, or look up Our Cultivated Lives on YouTube, and you'll find us there. We're trending there, all that kind of good fun stuff. But here's the thing: why are people so contagious or attractive when they know their purpose? Here's one of those reasons: people who know and have discovered their purpose, they have a laser focus, and they don't allow other things to distract them. Whether their purpose is with music, whether their purpose is with arts, whether their purpose is with mentoring people, right? Whatever that is, they have a laser focus, and it helps us, it helps you, it helps people say yes to the right things and say no to the wrong things, even if those things are good, even if those things are noble, even if those things are great. But if they're not part of your purpose, you say no to them because they become a distraction. But you only do that when you have this laser focus on what your purpose is, and that's what makes people of purpose so contagious to be around. It's like, man, I love to be around people who know how to say yes to the right things and no to the wrong things, even if they're good, because it's not in alignment with their purpose. It makes them contagious to be around. It's like, wow, what is it about your aura? What is it about your drive? What is it about your focus? And it's because they overcome those distractions that are thrown at us from every direction. There are a bazillion distractions, and hopefully you're not driving right now if you're watching on YouTube, because that's another distraction. And the Cultivation Podcast is not about being a distraction, but helping to bring focus to our lives, helping to bring focus to our purpose. So that focus is so contagious because it helps us to eliminate, or at least overcome, the distractions in our life and not get off of or out of alignment with our purpose. And a lot of times we know that our attitude is affected by, are we out of focus, or are we out of alignment with our purpose? And so knowing our purpose, knowing our destiny, knowing our identity helps bring a focus to that, an intentionality, a drive that most people don't have in their life. They're just kind of, in the words of Forrest Gump, bumping around all accidental like, is how he says it. But when we become a person of purpose, we become a person of direct focus. It determines the books I'm reading. It determines the people I'm hanging out with on how to go to the next level, right? And I'm just saying yes to the right things and no to the wrong things when I understand my purpose. Another thing that our purpose does when we are a person of purpose and how that becomes contagious is that our purpose gives us an energy and a fuel that motivates us by things that are internal, right? So why does that athlete get up and go to the gym at 5 a.m.? Why does that rider go away to that retreat? Because we're driven not by external things, although external things can drive us, and there are those pressures. We still got to pay the bills. We still got deadlines that we have to meet. And so I'm not to say those aren't real, but once we have our purpose and we're driven by that, it becomes a fuel. It becomes a drive. It becomes a motivation that's all internal. You've heard me say this before. I am a checklist kind of guy. I have a checklist every single day of my life. I usually spend the last hour of my workday just building tomorrow's checklist and trying to celebrate or see what did I get done today that I could check off and say that I have a mental checklist with so many things in my life. It's kind of annoying to a lot of people. I'm also very routine. I do the same thing the same way in the same order every day. My youngest daughter makes fun of me by the way the sequence in which I put my socks and my shoes on. She's like, why do you do it this way? Why do you do it that way? I don't know. I'm a checklist person. But by that checklist that I have and that purpose that I have, it's all an internal drive. And by having that purpose as an internal drive, I don't need someone or some external thing to come alongside and go, you better do this, right? In fact, I'm actually not motivated to do those things when somebody has to come alongside me and say, now, when I have an internal motivation and I know that I need some external help or an external kick in the rear, I get a coach. Right? I have an exercise coach. I have a financial coach. I have a marriage coach because I'm like, I really want this area to be better and I need some external support, but it still is an internal motivation, right? It still is an internal motivation to build this business, an internal motivation to write that book, The Life You're Meant to Lead. It's coming out. It's so close. I'm so pumped. I can't believe it. And I got to tell you, if I'm being totally honest about it, I am scared and nervous, sick to my stomach, terrified about this thing because I'm so vulnerable about it. I'm just being real. I'm being raw that I've got every emotion you can imagine, like, stage fright, all those kinds of things. But there was something in me that was motivating me to get this message out, to get this book out, that I was like, I got to get this out. It's so important about the life that you're meant to lead. And I want to share that with everyone. And that's why we're doing season 4 this way with the podcast of saying, hey, we want to dig a little deeper, give you some bonus content and come and check it out and be a part of what is that. And one of the things we talk about is how contagious our purpose is and how we use that purpose to impact others, and that it comes from an internal fuel, an internal motivation, right? And so if you're finding a lack of focus, if you're finding a lack of motivation, maybe you just haven't discovered your purpose yet. And I would encourage you, try some new things. Risk some things, step out, take an adventure, and maybe, just maybe, one of those things will hook you and go, this is why I'm here. And listen, there is no limit. There is no limit to what purposes we are built for. Meaning this, if you are all about nature preserve, I know that some people might be like, what? I get it. But if that's why you're here, listen, there's lots of things I do that people are like, what's that all about? I'm a super nerd. I rebuild computers, and I get it. Most people don't even do that, and they're not interested in that. But for me, I'm just like, man, I love this kind of stuff. This doesn't even work. This is actually just a fun hobby that gets me to unplug. But it's one of those things where I'm like, hey, maybe this is a part of my purpose. Maybe it's video games. Maybe it's art. Maybe it's music. Maybe it's, I don't even have a creative enough brain to tell you all the possibilities that are out there. But there is something that is unique and specific just for you that becomes an internal motivation that nobody has to tell you to get up and do this or move out there and do that or blah, 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 blah. Whatever those things are, it becomes an internal motivation, not an external pressure. That's part of your purpose, right? Here's the other thing that a purpose does. When you have purpose, when you're a person of purpose, you find a way where others find an excuse, right? When it's a part of your purpose, whatever that is, again, maybe it's fashion design. And let me just tell you, I have zero business doing fashion design. And I'm being totally transparent and honest. I didn't even pick this outfit that I'm wearing. I was like, hey, I'm doing a podcast show. We're on YouTube, by the way, if you're only listening to the audio. And you're like, why do I care what he's wearing? You don't. I don't, right? That's the thing. But the truth of the matter is, I had somebody else say, hey, you are in charge of wardrobe. You pick it out. You lay it out, because I don't want to think about that. I just want to get this content out there, right? And so here's the thing. When we are people of purpose, we find a way. We find a way. We find the resources. We find the creativity. We find the innovation to make it happen. Even if we have little resources, even if we have no resources, even if we can't afford to do it, we'll crush cans and recycle and sell and garage sale. We'll do whatever we have to do to find a way. But when it's outside our purpose, we find an excuse. And there is lots of excuses. There's lots of reasons that we could quit doing whatever it is that's a part of our purpose. We're not smart enough. We're not good enough. We're not the right this. We're not the right that. We didn't have the right upbringing. We don't have the right background, and whatever the case is. And we've got so much dysfunction in our past and in our story, and we've blown it. And listen, I am the king of messing up, right? I've got so many mess ups. You can even go back to other episodes and watch them and listen to them. I would encourage you to do it, although you could get a laugh out of them, because I have glitched even on the podcast stuff. But we can't let failures hold us back. There's a whole nother episode that we're going to talk about that. But in this one, we're saying this, that our purpose finds a way, and things outside our purpose finds an excuse, right? And so the reason people of purpose are contagious is because people of purpose are resilient, innovative, and we find ways. We're resourceful. Once we got a hold of our purpose, we are resourceful to find ways to make it happen, and we'll grind it out and we'll grit it out. I did a whole episode on the grit of our life. I think that was in season 2, if I remember right. So we find that grit from our purpose rather than finding excuses. Hey, I'd love to hear what your purpose is. I'd love to find out what it is that's driving you and motivating you and bringing focus into your life. And so the way that you could tell us about that story is find us up on social media. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are on YouTube. We're on Twitter. And you can follow us there. You can comment. We want to hear your stories. We read those. We respond to those, right? We interact and we walk together on the cultivated journey. Also, as so many people have, we would love for you to share this show and episode with your friends and family. We'd like to get the message of the Cultivation Podcast out there to everyone as our audience is continuing to multiply. And one more thing, if you'll go to ourcultivatedlives.com, that's where we have the book and the pre-launch, and all those resources will be all there. You can find those, you can order those, you can buy those as we continue to walk out this journey together as we are a part of the cultivated community. Until the next episode, thanks. Thanks for checking us out today. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on all the incredible content we have coming out. Also, we'd love to hear from you in the comment section. We read those, we respond to those as we journey together in the cultivated life.